Good evening, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, I'm going to call this the relationship series, and obviously it is in regard to a Filipina. So this is the first one in that series. I think of probably there'll be three chats on this, and when I look at the differences that I've learned in my marriage to my lovely wife, I've learned many things, and one of the things that I've learned is the art of non-confrontation. Now, the difference between a Filipina, or Filipino in fact, and a Westerner is what you and I as Westerners, assuming you're a Westerner, would call confrontation. Saying it like it is. Nothing was ever further than the truth. When someone says, I just tell it like it is, that's a load of BS for my money. People who say that are rarely telling it like it is. They're only telling it like they would like it to be, and they'd like to make you have it. So, in relation to your Filipina, well, if you're a Westerner, if you're a foreigner, an expat, and you've come over here and you've found happiness and joy with a Filipina lady, then for sure you are going to have to learn about the art of non-confrontation. Now, what this does is it brings in all kinds of black and white, grey areas. In fact, nothing is really black and white. In seeking to not be confrontational, the whole question of what is true and what is not comes into play. So if you ask your Filipina a question which would require only the simplest confrontation, the lightest confrontation, but something which in her view might possibly offend, you will not get the truth. It's a fact. You will just simply not get the truth. If you have asked her to do something, like make a phone call, did you call Harry today and tell him that we may not be by on Thursday? She'll say, yes. But it turns out that Harry is still oblivious to the fact that you are not going to be around on Thursday until you ask again. So what did Harry say? Oh, I'm going to call him. Yes. Okay. Then why did you say that you'd called him? Well, I'm going to call him. See, so you have to understand that if she felt that there was going to be some kind of disturbance, verbal or emotional or otherwise, in answering your question, in truth, even the simplest thing, she will tend to tell you the truth that as she wants it to be. Now, all right, if you're going to really nitpick and go at this, I just like it to be told how it is, okay? I'm one of those guys. If you want to know the truth, you just tell me, and I'll tell you. No matter, I'm not really fussy about your feelings, and you get all of that. Well, a Filipino won't do that. A Filipino will not ignore your feelings. In fact, a Filipino will go all round the houses and back again and round again in order to avoid any kind of aggravation. Now, brings me to my favourite quote, or certainly right up there among my favourite quotes, of George Burns. George Burns was well into his 80s, and somebody asked him, George, how do you do it? You always look so happy and contented and never get bothered by things. He said, I have one basic rule, and that is, I try to get through the day with the least aggravation possible. Now, that could almost be the mantra of the average Filipina. They're not going to say anything which will offend you. And so what this means is that you have to do a lot of fishing. You have to put it in there and pull out the next answer. Now, with Beth, she never tells me anything straight off that I can easily find out by asking 6 or 7 or 8 questions. So if it's a case of, so did you see Harry today? Yes. So did you talk to him? Yes, I did talk to him. Yes, and yes, I talked to him. Well, what did he say? Oh, well, he said that Thursday was not going to be. That Thursday. He said about Thursday. He talked about Thursday. So, what did he say about Thursday? Well, and then finally, he said that he's not going to be there on Thursday, so don't come. Honey, why didn't you tell me that straight away? Well, I did. Yeah, but why did I have to ask you another 6 or 7 questions to find out that he's not going to be there on Thursday? Well, he's not going to be there on Thursday. Yes, I know that, but when I asked you about Harry, I asked you, did you speak to him? Well, yes, I did speak to him. Yes, I know that you spoke to him because I already asked you that. Yes, well, yes, so, yes, that's right, I spoke to him. But then I had to ask you, what did he say? Well, yes, well, I told you what he said. Yeah, but I had to ask you what he said. Well, yes, well, that's why I told you what he said. Yes, I know that that's why you told me what he said. But so, what's the problem? Did you not want to hear what he said? Well, yes, I did want to hear what he said, and that's why I asked you. Well, that's why I told you, dear. I'm getting a little bit lost here. Yes, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Well, no, I'm not worried about it. I was just trying to find out why I had to ask so many questions. Well, so you could find out what happened. Well, I know why you ask a lot of questions to find out why. I know that. Well, what's the problem? Why are you getting upset? Well, I'm not getting upset. Well, why are you doing that? Can you see that there are differences in the way that Filipina or Filipinos will communicate, and they're based on their way of talking. So when you come over and you expect there to be a gap in your way of talking, don't think that it's a gap that you can just step across, because it's not. It may, depending on your understanding of how she speaks, it may be Grand Canyon-esque. So get ready for this and exercise that little known muscle that every Westerner has, called patience, and because you'll be needing bucket loads of it. You need to be able to understand that a Filipina will avoid confrontation at any cost. No point in getting frustrated about it, because if this is the woman you love, this will actually be keeping you on a straight and narrow road. Because while you're there getting all upset about whether this should have been so and that should have been so, and you should have told me, and I asked you but you said no, she will just laugh. And after a while you'll see that it is something that should be laughed at, because unlike George Carlin's advice, which was don't sweat the small stuff, us foreigners tend to do just that. We sweat the small stuff. And instead of trying to get through the day, as Mr. Burns said, we are ready and waiting to pounce on any aggravation that's available. So, the first lesson in the relationship series in getting along with your lovely Filipina is patience and understanding. This is all for now. Bye for now. Foreigner in the Philippines.